All right, so welcome to another episode of the School of Noble Thought show. Today I have as guest Rory Coleman. He's the UK's leading ultra marathon coach and a motivational speaker. He's regularly featured on TV and in the national press, on local radio, and in lifestyle magazines. He coaches both individuals and businesses in fitness and well-being, and in his own words, describing himself as he says, over 1,000 marathons and 29 years on from a New Year's resolution I made to clean up my life, he said. I believe I have earned the title Marathon Man, and I am a million miles from being the overweight 40-a-day smoker and a hardened drinker that I used to be, that managed to run over 100 meters on 5th January 1994. I decided there and then to live the rest of my life to the full, nicotine and alcohol free. In just 3 months, I lost 3 stone in weight and ran a half marathon, going on to complete my first full marathon later that same year. I ran the London Marathon in April 1995 and enjoyed the experience so much that I ran another marathon the following weekend and the one after that. And we have been doing so ever since, he says. As I became a more experienced runner, the races became longer and terrain became tougher. I have run the Grand Union Canal Race 145 miles 3 times, and Marathon des Sables, branded the world's toughest foot race 15 times, more than any other British competitor. I have also completed a number of one-off challenges, including 9 Guinness World Records for running on treadmills and mega day races such as Flora 1,000-mile challenge in 2003. Other challenges featured in the media spotlight include my 1,275-mile London to Lisbon run for Euro 2004, and the government's Stop Smoking campaign, Stoptober, in 2013, which was 28 marathons in 28 days. In 2008, following a long career in sales, I made my passion my business and qualified as an advanced personal trainer. Since then, I have built a worldwide client base and have trained many celebrity clients, including Sir Ranulph Fiennes, BBC TV's Helen Skelton, Betty Potter, and Welsh actor Richard Harrington, Mark Lewis Jones, and Enril Hughes, and Jeffrey Morgan, to say few of them. Unexpectedly, my horizons changed dramatically in April 2016, when I was left paralyzed after being struck down by Guillain-Barré syndrome, and I was left wheelchair bound, and my future was thrown upside down. It was unclear whether I would ever walk, let alone run again. My recovery is ongoing, but I have left doctors astounded at the speed of my progress. I passed my 1,000 marathon goal in September 2017 and hope to continue inspiring people to achieve the most out of their sporting, home, and business lives. So, not withholding anymore, please welcome the legendary Rory Coleman today. Hi, Rory. Thank you for accepting my offer as a guest today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm out of breath listening to that lot. Yeah, it's certainly been it's been a busy few years, and I'm very lucky. I think I'm a very lucky person.
Yes, you indeed are. So tell us about your childhood. Where were you born, and how did your life
began?
You could probably share with the world.
Okay, so I'm 63, and I was born on the 6th of February 1962 as a child of the 60s, I think, and I grew up in Stratford upon Avon, and my parents were farmers. My dad was a farmer, and we had a very meager childhood, really. We certainly didn't. We were quite poor, but my parents were both there, very loving people. My dad's still alive, actually. He's 92, still very, very fit, very with it. An older brother and a younger sister, and I sort of was very happy-go-lucky child, if I'm being honest. I was very lucky. I went to a very nice primary school, and then I somehow managed to pass the exams to go to Shakespeare's grammar school in Stratford-upon-Avon. So I sat at the desks that Shakespeare sat at, and as a young boy himself at this amazing school. But if I'm being really honest about it, I don't think I really understood childhood too much. Nowadays, I think I'd be somebody that would have some special care or tutorage or whatever, but I didn't really understand, and still don't understand the written word that much. I'm a very numerate person. That's why when you email me, I email you back, and at the bottom of it, it says 1,209 marathons and 288 ultras or whatever, because I'm all about the numbers. But I really didn't understand the whole education process as a young person. Went to university, dropped out because, again, I realized that you had to read books, and I'm not very good at reading books. And I sort of got into the world of print and business, and I was successful in my 20s, but with the success of the business came the indulgences of we did lots of work in the pub. We spent a lot of time in the pub in the 80s and the 90s. And you get into a bit of a spiral. And what happened was I got into a period of, nowadays you sort of say depression. I'm sure they say it was depression, but I wasn't very happy with who I was. I've sort of painted myself into a bit of a corner, I suppose. I was married, I got 3 small kids. We worked hard, we played hard, but actually there wasn't that X factor, the achievement factor,
Right.
that I needed. And I just got into a really downward spiral, and I got to the stage where I just kind of hated myself. Nowadays, we'd reach out, or hashtag mental health, or we could reach out and find a therapist. But certainly in the late 80s and the early 90s, that was quite taboo. You didn't reach out and say help, or I'm a bit depressed, because people would just say, come on, man up, crack on, and go with it. So I did reach out, actually. At the time it was seen as being weak. It's a weakness to reach out. When in fact, like I said, nowadays we'd say that reaching out is actually a thing of strength. And I get people reaching out to me every day, okay? And now I've heard just about everything. But I was depressed. I was in a bad spot. Didn't like myself. Certainly didn't like being married. And I reached out.
What job were you doing that time?
Well, I was in the print business, and I was in printing. And printing was a really good trade to be in. It suited my mood, suited the way that I was a planner. I was a film planner, and it was a lucrative business, and we did well. But I reached out, and I reached out to my friend the Samaritans, and I just I phoned and said help. And that was in April '92. During the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, of all things, with Freddie.
Yeah, I can see that. The medals around.
And I reached out during that concert, and they sort of said, "Look, you're drunk. You need to go and dry out." And they told me a whole load of things I really didn't want to hear. I'm being honest, because we tend to, when we're in those situations, we put our fingers in our ears and we don't want to hear We don't
Right.
want truth. Anyway, they told me a lot of true things. And I thought, well, I don't need anybody's help, actually. I can do this on my own. And I cleaned myself up for about 6 months, but it's really difficult doing it yourself. And I went back into my old ways. And then eventually, come that 5th of January 1994, I decided, right, I'm going to terminate this bad behavior. I'm going to stop drinking, stop smoking. And I did go for that famous run of
Right.
about 100 steps, and passed out on the pavement.
Yes.
But I was very lucky because I'd found my thing, and the running has actually been like maybe it's a bit like an exoskeleton that you hang the rest of life on. It's there in the background, and when you're running, I found out that I could park my problems up. When you're running, all that you're ever thinking about is the next step.
True.
That's good. That's a REM state thought. And then when you finish the run, you go back and sort the problems out. That's what we do. So you stack the
So
problem.
Rory, sorry, I'll have to interrupt you here. How old were you when you were in 1994? That was 40 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
You were 40,
I was 31.
oh, you were 31 that time?
Yeah, I was 31 on
Okay.
I'm 60
Right.
now, so it's 30, just over 30 years ago.
So you were basically economically doing well with 3 kids, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there was no, I mean, you're having a decent life, pubs, normal 9 to 5 job, right? And I mean, as it would look like from a side, social, if you take the social barometers, it was a fulfilled life. Yeah, you were doing it like everybody else was doing, isn't it? Go to the pub, have a good life, weekends, enjoy smoking and all. Yeah, whatever you would like.
Yeah, but the problem is it's not enough. And what happens is all of the positive things slowly diminish.
Right.
And then all of the excesses, the smoking and the drinking, gets bigger.
Right.
And then you become more dependent on those times when you're out with your friends, or then you start drinking at home. And
So what was the reason of the drinking?
I think it's escapism.
So you were escaping from something in your life, is
I
it?
think so. Yeah. I think uncertainty, maybe. I just don't think I really understood life, if I'm being honest. And like I said,
You never thought about that. What were you escaping at that time to get into? I mean, you found your niche, you found your soul in the marathons, right? So you something which basically gave you that proof of concept, the identity, validity for yourself at 31 years when you started. You see, running so much of marathons is not an easy job. It's a big, huge willpower. I was going through your bio yesterday, and I'm seeing your medals you have received, right? A normal human being cannot have that much willpower. You have to have something extra within you, which must be pushing you, to move forward, move forward. So I am curious, what is that thing which you are escaping from? And that could be the reason which was pushing you to become that, the big marathon.
I don't know. I don't know if it is. I think I was trying to find myself. I think searching.
That man would do, yeah.
And obviously now I work with so many people. I think they're all trying to find something. We're trying to find out why we're here. Okay, so if you try and distill life, we're here for like a mere few seconds of the planet's existence, and everybody talks about winning the lottery. it is an unbelievable lottery ticket to be alive, isn't it?
Right.
And we take life just like a pinch of salt. It's nothing, when in fact it's this amazing thing. We live on an incredible planet, and I was lost. I was very, very lost, trying to find some kind of semblance of order. My parents were very much, it's all about education. My brother's a GP. Okay, so he's a doctor. He's really,
He's a doctor.
oh yeah. He's 3 years above me at school. And the teacher said to me, why are you so thick when your brother's so clever? And I don't think I was thick. I hope I'm not thick, but I just have a different thought process. And
I mean, that was just different from what the society wanted from you at that time.
I think so. It's a
So
different.
there was a norm.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah. So you had basically family with you. You had responsibilities. You had children. Yeah. And you loved your children, isn't it? Right. You love
I do love my children. I have 7 children.
So I mean, like any young man, you are busy with your work, but still you are not fulfilled, right? And you did go to a school. I mean, you finished education, isn't it?
Yeah, I finished education. I did my A-levels and I had a job, but where am I going to leave my thumbprint on the world?
True.
I want to live to be 100. I'd like to live to be 100 and live a full life if I can. Where's my thumbprint on the world? Where's my bit where I've made a difference? Am I going to do that printing lots of books? Everything I've ever printed is in landfill. It's in the skip. Okay, so it has no meaning whatsoever. Okay, so if you think about it, we're spending our life. You spend a lifetime writing your own epitaph. And mine will say eventually, Rory Coleman, blah, 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 1,622 marathons or wherever it is. And that's the bit that keeps me amused. Every time I put another one on, I feel happy about that. But where's the bit, where am I making a difference on the world? And I'm lucky. I now work with people and I make a positive difference on other people's lives. Thousands of people.
You are. I mean, indeed, I can bet on that. I mean, looking at you, what you are, the incredible laurels you have behind you. So, I mean, there is definitely you have a huge value to give to the world. But so it was a pain which made you switch over from a normal any young man would have had, and you decided to leave everything, no alcohol, no cigarettes, no smoking, and I would lead a healthy life. So that was a just eureka moment, as you say. It just
a moment.
Yeah. And there could be some pain which was you could not find that pain. There was something within you bubbling, which you could not, perhaps you didn't know what was that, isn't it? That made you.
Okay, so I think one of my theories is that, look, we can't change the past. We can't change the past. Okay,
Exactly, that's true.
It's history.
Yes.
And we've all done things. Some things are great. Some things aren't so great. Okay.
With everybody has the same.
But it's where we've ended up right now, this moment. Yeah. Oh, and that moment has gone. That's now history, isn't it? That moment.
Exactly.
So we can't change the past, but we can shape the future. And I had this thought about, when Madonna becomes one person and then she has like a makeover and becomes the next person, or David Bowie was one.
She was a hot actress at that time. I remember. Must be she was the hottest singer in the. I mean, I was growing up. I was like I was in my teens, I think, at that time.
So she
I
went
remember
from
I had these posters
like
of Metallica and
yeah.
all these in my room.
So she went from Vogue,
Beatles was
Cowboy
very
Girl,
popular at
and
that
then
time.
something else and whatever. So I thought, I know what I can do. I'll have a blank sheet of paper, and I'll think of three of the things that I do at the moment that I don't want to do anymore. It's a really simple thing, and anybody can do this. So you think of three things that you do that you don't want to do anymore. Mine was, don't drink, don't smoke, and stop eating rubbish food. Three really easy ones. Then I thought of three things that I didn't do that actually I did want to do. And the Stratford-upon-Avon Marathon, the Shakespeare Marathon, used to go past my parents' house. And I'd stand there with a cigarette and a pint of beer, and I'd watch the guys run past.
I can imagine.
And you watch them go by, and
And you were 31 years old, 30,
yeah,
30
I was
plus something?
yeah, I was like, and it'd been happening for about 10 years, and
Okay.
I think I was secretly jealous of how they looked. They all looked happy. Well, they did the first time when they went by about 4 miles. They didn't look so good at 17 miles, but they were going by and they looked slim and happy. And I just thought, wow, they look so fit. And I wasn't. I wasn't. I was quite shocked at how unfit I was.
Did you feel shameful of you that time?
Yeah,
Did it shame you?
Yeah, terrible.
It did, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
ashamed, really ashamed. And when I look back, it's 31 years since I was 31, or it's just a bit more now, but I can look back and say that, yeah, I was ashamed of that person.
I mean, talking of the shame,
Hmm.
you were one of the few, if not the only one there standing on that street. And when the marathon was going, I mean, there must be hundreds of other people also standing and doing the same thing, cigarette and beer, right? And they led their life as a normal, as everybody else would do. But you had something going on in your mind at that time, and it gave you shame at the same time. Yeah,
I did.
that's the catch point, that you had a renaissance moment within you. You had something going on, turmoil within the young man's heart and brain, right? And you wanted change. I mean, that's what happened. So, I mean, that could lead you to take that decision. So I'll stop this and I'll stop this and I'll stop this. And why marathon and why not anything else? What was it, something which you admired from the childhood, running?
I just enjoy the way it makes me feel. It still makes me feel the same way now. You feel alive, different. I'm quite happy to feel different to other people. I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be like me. I'm quite happy with who I am.
Right.
It's not, I'm not perfect by any chance, by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm quite happy with who I am and what I've done. And also, I wanted to achieve things. And I don't know if anybody watching this, can you remember what you did in 1995? People might not even have been alive, but on the 2nd of April 1995, I know what I was doing. I ran the London Marathon.
You did, yeah, and that
Yeah.
is what is incredible. I mean, you did that, and that is
It was
what
incredible.
is that 2 years prior to that, you
Yeah.
weren't doing that. So 2 years prior to that, you was holding a cigarette in your hand with a pint of beer and watching people run. And not everybody did that change. Yeah. So you had the guts, you had the bravery within you to do that. You wanted the change.
I did want the change, but and also I didn't know where the journey was going to take me. So I went on a journey, okay? And I now have lots of people on journeys and they don't know where they're going. We don't know where they're going. I didn't
That's
know.
very dangerous thing. That's very dangerous.
I think it's okay not to know where you're going. It's okay
You
not to.
say, you say so?
Yeah, I think so. It's just good to know that you're going in the right direction. Okay, so good to know not where you get not. You don't know where the end is.
But you know that you're in the right direction.
You're going in the right direction. So yeah, you can go and do the Marathon des Sables, the world's toughest foot race, and you're going to train for it for 12 months. The race is 9 days. Well, it's a week. It's 7 days. It's that big. You're not going to run across the Sahara Desert. You're going to run in a little bit of the Sahara Desert. Where are you going to learn the most things? You're actually going to learn it on the next 12 months when you're training for the race.
Yes.
That's where you learn the most. Where do you find out who you are? In the middle of the 50-mile stage, in the middle of the night, in the middle of the Sahara Desert, where there's just you and the darkness, and you think to yourself, oh my God, this is the toughest thing I've ever done in my life. That's where you find out who you are. And you find out the value of money, the value of friendship, the value of relationship. You find out the values of all those things. And when you come back to the UK, you try and implement some of those ideas and you go forwards. And if, like me, you've been there, I've been there 17 times actually. If you've been there 17 times, every year you go, it's like a refresher course.
Yeah.
And you drink in the atmosphere of the Marathon des Sables or Ultra X Jordan or some of the other desert races that I've done. And it gives life a fresh impetus. I just think that it's just a life.
Rory, did you have any time in your childhood when you were in your teens or maybe early before your marriage, yeah, or in 20s, you're talking of the time you were leading every common man's life. Was there anything which was like you wanted some change in your life right from the childhood? I mean, you wanted something, as you said, that you wanted to be different, right? You wanted to be something more than what you were. But when was that the first time you felt that? Can you recollect sometime in your childhood? I'm just trying to find out. I mean, so for me, it's my curious question is, why was it only you, and what was the reason that made you do the switch from this to this? Yeah. So there was a pain which was within you, but there must be, apart from that, there has to be some kindling moment in your life, could be from the childhood, that kept on, piling up within you. And maybe the 31 years, 32 years when you made the switch, that was you were just on the peak of it.
I think at school,
If you remember, I mean, fine. There's
no. I think at school I didn't fit in, and I remember they said to me I was an enigma, a bit of an enigma. I actually went to my parents' house and I found some of my school reports, and they're not great reading. They're really not great reading. I remember seeing my brother's school reports, and we were marked like it wasn't A to F. We were marked 1 to 28. It was marked in the class, and his was all 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. He was first in everything in the class, and I wasn't. I had some in the 20s, but those are all. So I certainly didn't fit the mold of a student. But I didn't kind of understand that process. And honestly, I was very, very confused. maybe I'm somewhere on the spectrum of, I don't know, Asperger's or ADHD or whatever. But the one thing that I had in my mind the whole time was, if I do something, I want to do it really well. Okay, so I'm very black and very white. If I'm going to do something, so you asked me if I do this podcast, I said, yeah, okay, sure. 12:15, we do the podcast.
You're like me. You're like me.
Yeah.
I have the same. I have the same. And my wife, sometimes she says to me that this is not, I mean, the world is gray. You cannot be black and white. But I don't know, it could be my upbringing. My dad was an army officer. So why marathons is very close to me, because you had to run. When I was sent to a National Defense Academy in India, and it's like a West End detto copy done in India, the American concept, 36 hectares of land. So they bring in students from after 12th grade, Army, Navy, Air Force, all in one go. 3 years of training. They convert your brains into muscles.
Yep.
I mean, literally speaking, and then you go for the further trainings. So I was down the road there 1.5 years. I didn't want to. I wanted to go. I wanted to join the merchant navy, travel the world, make money. That was the goal. But dad was an army officer. He wanted me to step into his shoes, and it happened on a marathon within the training. And I remember that day. I was the last in the marathon, maybe, or the second last. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I was mentally not ready for a run huge. Like it was, I think, 5 miles or 7 miles marathon.
Yep.
And that marathon, when I came, I knew about my capabilities. I knew that I have the leadership instinct within me. I was 93rd all over India with such a huge population, 93rd all India in the entrance exams. It means a lot, Rory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine. But when I came in that marathon, in the last slab of it, that was the biting moment for me. And that marathon, I do remember, that changed everything for me. I said, I am not going to continue in this. I mean, I cannot be the last slab of whatever it is, although we were the selected elite of the country. Yeah. And I just took the decision of abandoning it. So so that marathon could be the reason for me to take a decision. And for you, it worked the other way around. What I'm saying is that it was a landmark for you to prove yourself, to prove your mettle, to prove that you were nothing. From nothing, you became something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could choose at that time to become like a band of Freddie Mercury, maybe. Yeah, I'll be the singer, or I'll be a football player, I'll be a cricket player, or something else. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I did marathons to run.
And also,
that was.
I'm not the world's best runner. I'm far from it. Okay, far from it. But when it came to doing the world records, I just wanted them more than anybody else. And
so you had the world records within you. Was that the thing that you had to prove to the world? Yeah, is it?
Well, I was 8 years old and I had the Guinness Book of Records for Christmas. Okay, so the Guinness Book of Records. I was 8.
Oh, you were reading that, yeah?
Yeah. I was given it at Christmas, and I was reading about Neil Armstrong landing on the moon, and this is the tallest man, and this is I don't know, all these different records. And I remember through the pages thinking.
And you said that I want to be there.
I thought,
I would like my name to be there one day. Is it?
All these people are amazing. And I started running all these marathons. I did, I don't know, 11 marathons in 11 weeks or whatever. And I bought the Guinness Book of Records to have a look.
You did, yeah, you did, yeah.
And I was like, that's the fastest marathon, 2:06. Or I think, I won't be able to do that. And then I saw that a lady had run 93 miles on the treadmill in America. And I thought, I could do 100 miles in a day. I've never been on a treadmill, but we set it up and I stood on the treadmill and ran 101 miles in a day. And that day, I set 5 world records. And if you buy the 2002 book, I'm in the book. I actually made the Guinness Book of Records book, and I've got the certificate.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'll have to keep that as a testimonial of our conversation today.
Oh, they sold 10 more books.
Definitely.
They sold 10 more books that year, Dapan. I can assure you.
It's not a small achievement. It is incredible.
I think, but that's about getting accreditation.
It's about getting accreditation.
Okay, so you do 1 marathon, you do 10 marathons, you do 100 marathons, you do 500. How many?
You kept on doing it, and you kept on revalidating it for yourself. Yeah, I have to take one more, right? 7 times in a row.
Yeah, and then I get some media. Nowadays, I'll be on TikTok or Instagram doing all these marathons and things, but we're talking 25, 30 years ago, and 25 years ago there wasn't Facebook, and I got asked to do some really cool things, doing the 1,000 miles in London. That was fantastic. 1,000-mile challenge, running 1 hour, 1 mile every hour of the day for 1,000 hours, and I got paid to run the London Marathon.
So you got paid for that?
Yeah, I got paid for it. Yeah, I got paid to run the London Marathon, which was, for a guy that used to smoke and drink and was overweight, was pretty cool.
That is a big boosting factor, isn't it? Yeah. When you get paid, I think that changes everything. Even if it's, this is because you feel the acknowledgement of the world that people are recognizing you now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? That must be a huge day for you when you got the first time check for it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I was asked to run to Lisbon in 2004. So I was on the road, literally ran from London to Lisbon in Portugal in 6 weeks on the hard shoulder of the road, which is an adventure. I love the idea from going from one place to another, and that was 1/20th of the world's circumference, and it's just me on the hard shoulder.
So which was your first marathon?
My first
after the I would say the enlightening you got, you got enlightened, or the renaissance which took place within you. You left everything, you left alcohol, cigarettes, everything, started a new life. Yeah. What was the first marathon you did?
Telford.
Was that?
the Telford Marathon.
Telford Marathon.
Okay, and that was on the 6th of November 1994. So it's literally 11 months. 11 months. And
so you just took that. And that was
I remember.
How long is that marathon, Rory?
Oh, 26.2 miles. 26 miles.
Did you practice for it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was I can remember it. I can remember nearly all the marathons, but I remember that one. And I remember asking somebody at halfway if I was winning. I couldn't see anybody. And the marshal just looked at me.
You got the gold medal for it, is it?
No. I ran 4 hours, but I couldn't see anybody. And were
they all ahead of you?
I couldn't see anybody. No. And he just looked at me and he just shook his head like that. But I do remember getting to the finish line and thinking, that's an achievement.
That is.
Nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that marks a specific day in my life that I will never, ever forget. And 56 days later, I ran the London Marathon. And the week after that, I did the Stratford Marathon and then the Leeds Marathon. And then just what happens is that feeling. If you ever do the London Marathon, if anybody has ever done the London Marathon, when you turn Birdcage Walk in front of Buckingham Palace and you run down towards the finish, you've got about, I don't know, 300 or 400 meters. You've got that crowd cheering you on, and it's an amazing feeling of accomplishment. I love it. That adrenaline rush is unbelievable. If you run in the desert and you get to the end of the Marathon des Sables where people are broken, you do get broken at the race. If you put your hands up, you can actually feel there's like an electricity in the air. There's an electricity, and you can actually feel this energy that people are exuding. And it's, I don't know, it's love, it's achievement, it's pure, it's positivity. It's a bit like I don't know, a bit like Back to the Future, where he's got the fuel and the car's going to go into the future. It's that ingredient X, and it's that thing that if you can bottle it, that's what you're trying to experience time and time and time again. And what happens is, in life, we get sidetracked into, I don't know, going to work, doing the family stuff, mowing the lawn, cleaning the car, paying the bills, and it's this normality stuff where actually we need the adrenaline of adventure. We need to climb a mountain, walk to the South Pole, row the Atlantic, I don't know, become an astronaut. I wanted life to have adventure and have meaning. And this, whatever it is that I've done or still doing, has adventure. When I started this process, people thought I'd flipped. They thought I'd gone mad.
You were 31. You were 31 years when you started the first
31 years, yeah. People thought I'd flipped.
31, yeah?
Yeah.
And when was the London Marathon you did? How old were you that time?
That was 95, so I was 32.
So you did it the next year, yeah? So you had, but and after that you never stopped, yeah? Never turned back.
No, I just kept
on
going.
doing it, yeah.
And I've been everywhere. New York, Stockholm. I've been all over the world. Australia, everywhere.
So you ran everywhere. You did the marathons. And how long was what was the duration you did it? 31 to till what time you did the last marathon?
I did my last marathon 10 days ago.
Oh, really? Okay, that's fantastic. Yeah, you're still continuing with that. Yeah, right.
I did two. I did two ultras
before the tragedy came in, the medical thing. So you were doing it internationally. Are you still doing internationally, or?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm doing Marathon des Sables again in 50 days.
Wow, incredible. So you got boosting after every marathon you did. You built more and more of your self-confidence, right? And you found more and more of your inner voice, which was there within you, which was not restless. And do you see that meaning in your life more and more every time you do the marathons? Like, are you able to, is it a point of validation you see for yourself, which gives you strength?
I think so. And also now with my work, I've got other people, and it's about revalidation. So if you're projecting, so all the work that I do now is about projecting mindset. So I believe you can do anything if you want to. And if somebody else can do something, I'm sure I can.
True.
You're not born being able to land a Boeing 787. You're taught.
Yeah.
I teach people to run now, but also I teach people to how to live life, how to be calm about themselves. I think we spend so much time trying to find that ingredient X or whatever it is, or find ourselves, and a lot of the time we already know who we are. It's just that we're just not satisfied, or we want to make changes. I help people make change. I'm very open to change, and it helped me. I came back from.
So you have been doing it for 32 years now. So
I
you're
have.
63. Yeah, 32 years you've been doing it. So do you still have, I mean, kids must have grown up. They've left, they're living their lives, must be having grandchildren, I'm sure.
I've got so my oldest daughter's 36, my youngest daughter is 5, and my son who's 31, he's doing Marathon de Sable with me in 50 days. He's coming with me.
So is he? Really?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
He's going to come and experience being with me.
That's
But
brilliant.
We've done a few races together. He's a good chap. But no, what I was saying is, I've learned so much from the running, and when you talked about my description earlier on, I came back from the desert in 2016, and I had something called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And
yeah, that would have been my next question. I mean, I'm really curious what has been going within your mind at that time, and how did you do this turnaround it with this? Because many of the people would have just left it there and said that this is the end. So I'm just curious about that. What was going on in your mind at that time?
Well, I can tell you what happened. I can tell you what happened. I'd been to the desert, and Guillain-Barré syndrome is a really strange thing. It's a syndrome. It's not an illness. It's your body attacks its own autoimmune system.
Yeah.
So I had a tummy bug when I was at the race, and when I came back, I slowly started to. It's like your body gets anesthetized, and your nervous system gets totally shredded. So you slowly become paralyzed.
Yeah, it's a drastic thing. I mean, I mean, I've never heard about it till yesterday, when I went across.
There's a massive outbreak in India at the moment, actually.
Is it?
There's a massive outbreak in India.
Of this?
Yeah.
Really?
It's from the Campylobacter bug. And what happened with me was I slowly became incapacitated, and then I was paralyzed from the neck down. So I went from running in the desert, 6 marathons in 7 days, and 2 weeks later I'm in hospital, paralyzed from the neck down.
I can imagine. I mean, that must be a horrible, horrible thing what a person can have, isn't it, in life?
Well, it is everybody around you. Everybody cried. I didn't cry because I wasn't really quite there. It's the most painful thing that can ever happen to you. It is really painful.
It is.
Because all of your nerves are firing all over the place. So there's a lot of pain, but then a lot of fog. And I just thought I'd be okay, if I'm being honest. I just thought, oh, well, it'll go, and I'll soon be walking around the park, and then I can run, and then I'll be back doing what I did.
Did you?
I did naively think that. I was cheesed off because I was stuck on marathon 976, and I got them all planned out for my 1000th. So those plans went out of the window. And I had something called subacute inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. That's the actual thing that I had. And I was ill twice. And I was the worst patient in the world. I really was the worst patient. And what happened was I was very angry. I became very angry about this condition that was
You got angry,
stopping me.
yeah.
It was
So it
stopping me.
did bring in anger within you.
I was really upset.
Frustrated, disappointment, isn't it?
Oh, I wanted to run. I want to run, and it's stopping me from running. So I was really pissed off, you know. But and I managed to. They said to me, if you can get to the door on a Zimmer frame, you can go home. So that was
Doctor
it.
said.
I managed to get to the door somehow, and I came home. And for 4 weeks, it was a complete nightmare. I spent most of the day in an armchair, and then I slept on the floor, and nothing worked. My bowels didn't work, and it was just a mess. And I was having some specialist physiotherapy, and they said to me, "Look, things aren't getting any better. What do you think you should do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. I just." They said, "We think you need to go back to hospital." So I had to phone the hospital and say, "Oh, can I come back, please? I promised to behave." And then I accepted my condition. And my son, actually, he was 10 yesterday. He was learning to walk at the time, and I watched him, and he was learning to walk. And you don't just go 3, 2, 1, walk. It takes about 6 weeks to learn to walk. You know, the child gets up and it stands up, and then it cruises along, and then it'll take some steps and fall over. It takes time to learn.
How old were you that time?
I was 54.
Okay, so you were my age.
Well,
Okay.
Guillain-Barré syndrome hits a lot of
So
men.
that's not far. I mean, that's just
It's 9
seven,
years.
8 years back,
It's 9
isn't
years
it?
ago, yeah.
Yeah. So that's so you went back to the hospital, is it?
I went back to hospital, and I thought, right, I'll be on my Zimmer frame this week. Next week, I'm going to be on crutches. The week after that, I'll be on sticks. The week after that, I'll be on leg irons. And then I'm going home. And I walked home. I walked home.
You did.
Yeah, and they were trying to find me, and I turned up at home, and my wife said, "What are you doing?" And I just said, "Well, I've walked home, and it's about 2 miles." And I walked home, and
So you were totally cured, is it?
no, I was really wobbly, because my balance even now isn't brilliant, but it's hard because your proprioception goes. And although you think mentally that you're 100%, you're not. Okay, so you have to. It's a little bit. You have to leave the old Rory Coleman behind, and you're now the new Rory Coleman. So forget running fast. Forget doing some things that you did before, because you're not going to be able to do them anymore.
Like,
so I think some of the adventure's gone. And I do now have to.
I mean, you are doing marathons, so you must be able to walk, run, obviously, right?
Oh yeah, I've done.
You're doing that.
Yeah, I've
So
done.
what is that you cannot do from which Rory 1 could do and Rory 2 cannot do?
So if I was offered a climb on Everest.
What was that?
I was offered a climb on Mount Everest.
Is it?
Yeah, before I would have done that. And now it's like, no.
So it's just the willpower has gone down, maybe?
No,
Has
not
come
the
down?
willpower. It's the knowledge of what my ability is.
Self-awareness, you would say, right?
And also, what am I trying to prove? You know,
Self-belief. Would you put it, say, as self-belief?
Yeah, I
Do you,
think
do
that,
you see do you see the depreciation of self-belief within you? Rory 2 has got less self-belief than Rory 1. Do you see that?
no, I still believe my self-belief.
Yes, I mean, it should be rather more after you have what you have done, what you have accomplished. I mean, not everybody could,
I think there's ambition versus ability.
ability.
So somebody says to me, "Oh yeah, you've done all these marathons. Have you ever done an Ironman?" I say, "No, because I can't swim. I literally can't swim. So even if I wanted to go and do an Ironman, I can't because I can't swim. And
But
also,
you would have done it earlier.
maybe I would have trained for it, but I'm sort of quite happy now with who I am, what I'm doing. I can doing marathon to Sables fine, and I've done it 17, 18. I've done it 4 times since I was ill. It's fine. I know exactly what I'm doing, and it's fun.
And how long are these marathons? What are the marathons you've done after you came back from the hospital? The Rory 2 version, I would say.
Oh, the Rory 2 version. I've done 233. I've done all sorts.
33.
I've done 233 since I was ill.
233. Wow.
Yeah. In the last 9 years. So I'm still doing 30 a year. Is that nearly 30, 25 a year? I'm doing 25 marathons a year. And
so are you doing the London Marathon now also?
I have done the London Marathon. I actually did one of the pace groups, and I had about 200 people running with me. It was fantastic. I loved it. And I was doing my 1,200th marathon or whatever it was, or 1,100th marathon.
And that's hats off to you. Sorry,
They
I
were
mean
doing their first.
that's the sheer willpower, isn't it?
Yeah, but they were doing their first. And actually, the thing I've realised is, or I realised over these last few years, certainly working with other people, is whatever I've done is totally immaterial. It doesn't matter. It gives me credibility to talk about marathon running and I don't know, leading a better life. But actually, what's really important is it's other people. I spend a lot of my days just listening. I listen.
Doing what? Sorry.
I listen. I listen to people.
I listen.
Yeah. I started here this morning at 5 a.m. listening.
You did.
Yeah, listening to somebody, and yeah, I listen, I comment, I guide, I help, and that's where the value is.
So what's your ritual? What do you do? I mean, you get up at 5 o'clock every morning?
I'm either up at 4, 5, or 6, depending on who I'm working with, because it's my job.
Okay.
And I work throughout the day and finish. Sometimes I finish at 6, but it could be 7, 8, or 9, or 10, because I'm fitting in with other people's schedules. But they're in America, Africa. I've spoken to the Ivory Coast today. Where else have I been? I've been to Cardiff. I've been to Austria. I'm talking to you in Paul. I go around the world in a day because we've got these things, which is brilliant. I've got a phone, and
yeah, technology has made it easier.
Technology's made it really easy, but it's about connecting with people, isn't it?
Correct.
Connecting, and it's about working out. It's easy when you're looking in on other people's worlds. Okay.
It is definitely. So how long you have been doing the coaching? So when did you switch here? Did you start it?
I started in 2008. I built up a business and sold it in 2008. My wife at the time said, "Look, you're always helping people to
What business was that which you sold?
It was a lifestyle business, actually. And I built up a lifestyle brand, and I sold it to a French PLC of all things. And
What was that lifestyle brand called?
it was called Ambition.
Ambition?
Yeah, Ambition. Yeah. It probably still exists somewhere on the internet. These things come back, but it was about the concept of being more in business. And I just went and spoke to different businesses around the world, and it worked fine. But the economic crash came, and I was left without a job. So my wife said, "You're always teaching people how to run. Why don't you become a personal trainer?" So I became a personal trainer and found out that actually that's a really hard job.
It is.
And it's difficult to pay the mortgage. And I thought, well, what have I got that people want? What makes me different to everybody else? And it's the mindset.
So you started the coaching before your illness,
Yeah.
before the illness, 2008. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was working with people. I was working with people to a certain degree. I was doing lots of stuff in the gym, lots of physical things. But obviously then when you're ill, you can't do the physical things anymore. And also it narrowed my bandwidth on where the profitable parts of business were. Maybe I was doing things that weren't so profitable, but things that I enjoyed. Whereas really what I needed to do was concentrate on the business parts with the biggest revenue. So I wrote a book, I redid my website, and it just went from strength to strength. And I'm really
The Japanese call it ikigai. If you there's a good book about that. If you Google it, ikigai. So it's exactly what you're doing right now, which is you're meant to do, and you will like sweet spot.
Yeah. And I love doing the I do love doing the personal transformations. And you take somebody, and I don't know, sometimes they just come to me, "Can you teach me how to run a 10K?" And well, yeah, okay, but let's look at the rest of life. What else, well, I don't like my job, or I don't like my partner, or I don't like where I live, or I don't know, I'm being picked on at work, or I'm going through a divorce. And I like working through all those bits. Those are the interesting bits.
Exactly. That's humanly thing. That's
Yeah.
a but that's a common man's problem. Yeah, you're solving.
Yeah. And it's really easy when you're looking in on somebody else's world. You sort of, well,
Exactly.
just do this or do that. But debt, lots of people are in debt. So I try and help people get out of debt. But it's you're just holding someone's hand. And like I said, I'm very lucky. I get invited into people's world. And in business, people, they do work, but they don't work very hard. I work with.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And so you are now doing marathon coaching.
Yep.
You're doing life coaching.
Mm.
And what else you are doing apart from these coachings?
I do a lot of lifestyle coaching now.
Lifestyle coachings
A
also.
lot of one-to-one. And there's no boundaries at all. All I'm doing is working with people. Right. So people do find me through doing marathon coaching, but actually I do it's a lot of transformation coaching now. So it's taking person A, and it's like doing a system upgrade.
Any experiences you would have, Rory, when you have been coaching people now once you are into multiple coachings? Anything you would like to share which was like really good to remember from one of your,
one of my clients,
which you have had?
Yeah, I was very lucky. I was on Chris Evans' show, Chris Evans' radio show. So I did some work with Vassos, and he said, "Come on the show. You've got to come on the show." So okay. So I went on the show, and Chris interviewed me, and I was on the show for about, I don't know, 40 minutes, and we're talking about all sorts of different things. And when I came out, I think 11 people had gone onto my website and had contacted me and said, help. And this one lady said, help, in as many words. And I phoned her, and she was absolutely shocked that I phoned her. But, you know, I'm in business, I'm in sales. The first thing I'm going to do, obviously, is go into see who's been contacted.
Old school.
Old school, yeah, old school. And she said to me, she told me about her predicament. She wasn't very happy, daily drinker. And I said to her, well, I think you're somebody that can't drink. And I think she was quite shocked. And we went on a journey. And that journey went through bereavement of 2 family members. And she started running, lost 20 kilos in weight. And at 52, ran 3 hours and 4 minutes in Berlin. At 52, which is like really quick. Fantastic, great runner, and has been dry for, it must be 6 years now. 6 years. Lives a really happy life, changed job. And it's been a real transition for one person. That's one.
Right.
And
that's huge. That's huge.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
and it's an onward journey. You get to a stage where you go, okay, we've gone through all of this big transformation, and now you've got to go, you're now into your future. I've been
you have done that. You've done that multiple times, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah, all the time. And you just get, you're just into people's, and it's really sad when they go. I feel really sad when they go, because they become part of my world then.
Exactly.
You know,
I mean, you get attached to them, isn't it?
Oh, very much so, very much so. And they become part of your world, and eventually they go, and you think, oh, but then there's somebody else that comes along, and it's
like a kid, you know. It's like a kid. You have grown up.
Yeah.
You have given birth to a new person, basically, right? Yeah. So it was a alcoholic woman who didn't know what to do, and you are changing her, and she's running marathons now, cross Europe, pan-European or pan-international, I don't know. I mean, it's a achievement.
When you look at that journey,
parent feeling, you know, so you did something good for the child.
Yeah.
Apart from the coaching, what you did.
Yeah. And you just feel there's some legacy there. There's some ministry, you know. And also they now give things the right amount of emphasis, and they're projecting the right things to their children, and they've worked out their life with their life partner, and they're happy, and they move house, and I don't know, they go through these whole...
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah, it's a real
ripple effect. Keeps growing.
And now
it makes you happy, isn't it? I mean, you are doing so much of you see the results in front of you.
Yeah, and they tell somebody else, and they tell somebody else, and they tell somebody else, and the word just keeps. So
you've got a good future for you as a coach, is it?
I hope so, because my daughter's 5. My daughter's 5. And I've got to work until I'm about 135. So I've got to
5 years. Yeah, I mean, that's also not like everybody would do, isn't it? That's like Rory Coleman style. Yeah.
very much so. But my wife's a runner. She's a great runner. She runs for Team GB. We're also in the same sort of game and the same mindset, and we understand each other. And also,
And your wife is the first wife? She's the same wife you had, or your second marriage?
she's my third wife.
The third wife, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you met her during the marathons, is it?
I met her in the Marathon des Sables in 2009, and she was out
Okay.
doing the same thing as me. And what I can say is, when I was ill, she was absolutely amazing. And that's where you find out the value of people. I found out the value of the people that I know. I found out, like I said, money has no value. Your health is your wealth. And
So
also,
who was the wife? Was it your second wife or your present wife who pushed you into the coaching? Who, I mean, who
my second wife
recommended you, I would say, not pushed you.
So I would say my second wife said I should become a trainer.
Oh, she gave you the
Yeah.
idea. Okay.
And she has some great values. Her biggest one is about preparation. That was my biggest learn from
I mean,
her.
that was a good suggestion to you, isn't it? She gave you to become a trainer.
It's all about preparation. I go to Amsterdam tomorrow to talk to a group of people in Amsterdam about running the Marathon des Sables, of all things. But I'm already prepared for that, and I'm doing a webinar next week.
So you're doing public speakings and all, yeah?
Yeah, but they're about preparation.
Awesome.
It's about preparation, isn't it?
So you see a good future in the coaching industry for you.
I think so. There's lots of people who say that they're coaches.
I think it's increasing. The people need it more and more now. This is my personal opinion, how much I read and I talk, and people are lost.
I think they are lost. The other thing that I have is that I haven't read a coaching manual, and I haven't been on these coaching courses to learn other people's way of coaching. It's my way. I didn't read a book on how to run. I just went and did it and found out. So
Yes.
what I project is it's been learnt the hard way.
It is. I mean, if I had to summarize how much I have read and we have spoken today about you, if I had to summarize you as a coach, I could give you as a marathon coach, as a lifestyle coach. You could be the resistance coach. I could put you into that category too, because you do have a resistance in your life. Yeah, you went from the dead hole and you came back.
Oh yeah, the Phoenix, definitely the Phoenix.
Bad patient, you told to your doctor, "I'm leaving." I mean, that must be a real thing, that have that willpower within you.
My doctor just said, I just gave up all the medication and everything.
Yeah, I mean, that is just incredible, Rory. I would say that is just incredible. I mean, you have your own life as ingredients for coaching, I must say. Yeah, that could be a huge value for the world. I mean,
well, I hope so. I hope so, because it is nice working with people, I must admit. And I just sit in my lounge all day with Freddie, and I just talk to the world. That's it. It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah, that's a huge essence. Rory, what are the values you have as a human being? What you keep for yourself with your life course? What you would like to give to your kids, to the younger generation following us behind? What will be the topmost values which you keep for yourself in your life?
I would always say, be the best version of yourself. So
Okay.
if I was talking to myself when I was, if I was looking back, certainly be the best version of yourself. It's okay not to know what you're going to do in life when you're 17 or 18, when you're a young person. It's okay not to know. Just whatever you do, just make sure that you're doing it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And if you have values, you stick to the values. It's dead easy to give in. Never, ever, 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 ever give in. I've set off 1,209 times to run a marathon. I've never, ever given up. You would
Never give up.
No, you'd have to chop my legs off. And if I said, like I said, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll jolly well go and do it. And I'll give it everything I've got and more.
Rory, it has been a wonderful talking to you today.
Oh, thank you. Enjoyed it.
I'm really honorable. I mean, it's a real honor for me to have this conversation with you today. We have a ritual on this School of Noble Thought show. There is a question which was left from the last guest I had, and which I would request you to have an answer to if you can.
Mm-hmm.
The question was, which he had put up, what words of advice would you give to your much younger 25 years old self?
Oh.
So we are talking of the time when you were in your print business and you were the time of your drinking and smoking and whatever it was, the normal life. What would you give to yourself advice if you had today's Rory?
And the old Rory, I would definitely say stop and recalibrate. And recalibrate. Go through a system upgrade and really have a think about what you're doing, and be open to change. That would be my big.
Recalibrate would be your advice, is it?
Recalibrate, definitely. It's all you've always got time to reassess. You've always got time to reassess where you are and what you do. We do it all the time. We do it all the time now.
What would be your one question you would want me to ask the next guest I would be interviewing?
I want to know what their favorite Queen track is and why.
I would want to know what their
favorite song by Queen. What's your
their favorite song from Queen?
What's your favorite Queen song and why?
All right, that sounds like a good question to me.
So it's a good one. And then why?
And then why?
Yeah.
And then why? Yeah.
Why did you choose that one? And I bet they don't choose Bohemian Rhapsody.
Rory, thank you so much for coming up today, for showing up, and I really appreciate your time. And I wish you all the best. You're a huge inspiration.
Thank you.
And we have got lots and lots to learn from you, and especially the younger generation coming behind us. Yeah. I'm sure we're going to put up all your social medias when I'm going to put it up on the internet.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to have a video and audio version of it. If you want to share any of your links, although I've got all of them, if you would like any other link to be shared, just share it with me. It's going to be going all over the platforms.
Oh, thank you so much.
Anything else before we say goodbye you would like to add on?
No, I've got to go because I've got to actually speak to my next client. It's one of those. So no, thank you
so much. Have a lovely day.